So excited for this, guys. Our guest today is a certified health coach and a physical trainer. Her main focus is on improving both mental health and physical health with her mission to help others reach their goals, improve their lives, and feel amazing. She also has a health and fitness coaching company, Pure Z Health, where she has developed a meal plan program, a fitness program, and other great features to help support her clients into maintaining a healthier lifestyle. But before we start, this episode is brought to you by Basic Keto Box. Basic Keto Box is a premium subscription box for keto dieters. It includes a wide variety of healthy keto options delivered to your door. So make sure to check out basicketo.ca to learn more. Without further ado, I'm here with Zarah Rose. Zarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. That was such a nice intro.
Thank you. Thank you. Man, I'm really, really glad that you're able to join me here, but not just your presence, because I resonate with your story so much. I was talking to you about it before we started, and this really can be a uh some eye opener for somebody, for my listeners, to making a better lifestyle choice for themselves. To give a brief background of Zara, for many years she had struggled with anxiety and panic attacks in the past, and I have so much empathy for that because of myself that struggled with that too, and I think we all are affected by it in some degree. I myself had one of those panic attacks, and it was a scary time for me, and which led me to the path to find the answers. And I have now learned that um, how important mental health really is, but also that is all behind us now. And since you've made a lifestyle change, I'd like to talk to you about your evolution. So I'd like to really dig in deep into your experience. Growing up, food is always a great place to start. If you can speak to your relationship with food growing up, remembering your environment and how your habits are formed before you started leading to the keto diet.
Yeah, I guess there's there's just so much mixed information out there, and when I personally would be trying to eat healthy and go to the gym as I was a teenager, I would have the chicken, broccoli, sweet potato, or chicken, broccoli, and rice, and I'd try not put any sauce on it. You kind of go one extreme or the other, and it would just be so boring. And I eat chicken now, but I feel like I don't know if I used to overcook the chicken, but it just was dry and it was just really not enjoyable. So then, come the weekend, I would always love to go to KFC or
Mm,
McDonald's, things like that. And it just became a bit of a habit. Like I would eat healthy for the weekend. And
yeah.
so many people for so long have talked about cheat meals and things. So you think, oh well, it's just on Saturday. They don't really talk about the impact, but all sometimes you do Saturday and then you do Sunday morning if you've had a few drinks, and it just becomes a really bad habit, and a cycle. And often, many of my friends, we would have KFC on a Sunday, and we would feel so crap after it. But the dopamine hit you get when you first have that zinger burger or whatever you're having is so strong that you forget how crappy you feel. And I personally was not taught at all about the impact on health to do with how you feel mentally. I knew it could make you feel sick physically, but I had no idea about the correlation between food and our mindset. And I think that that's so important to teach children, um, that are growing up in this generation. It's not just about how it makes you feel, and there's so many people with intolerances and that these days, but it's more about how it impacts your mental health. So yeah, that's the message I really want to spread. And with my own meals and things, I like to make delicious meals that don't even feel like you're on a diet, because you're not. You're just, like, even though I eat what's considered keto, I just consider it real food that I eat. And throughout my pregnancy, people were like, "Oh, did you stay keto while
Mm.
you're pregnant?" And I was like, "Well, I just ate good food. I'm growing a baby. I'm not going to go back and start eating processed pastas and bread and that. Like, yeah, it's just a lifestyle." So yeah, it's been a journey.
So, you know, yeah, obviously you talked about how you were wanting to eat healthy within the weekdays, but however, when the weekend comes, it's always that cycle of getting into uh fast food, processed food, and sometimes we forget that we those food make how those food makes us feel. And so I'd like to talk about how you got started with keto and how you found it. Because I think for me, I found it through wanting to lose weight and wanting to shed some weight when the pandemic started. And so going into it, I wanted to lose weight. But as I transition into ketosis, I realized that it's also making me feel good, focus more, and clarity is just different. So I'd like to know how you were led to keto and how you heard about it. What did you think about it in the beginning, and yeah, and your first week on keto.
Yeah, I feel like that's what draws most people
Mm-hmm,
towards is um, the weight loss
mm-hmm,
aspect, and I don't feel like we really realize that it has anything to do with mental health or mental
mm-hmm,
clarity. We kind of hear that if you start it, but you're like most like focused on the weight loss. But for me, I was kind of dibbling into paleo and um, primal health, like Marxist and style Mediterranean diet. And I'm a hairdresser as well, and we talk a lot,
mm-hmm,
talking to a client, and she mentioned something to me about keto and ketosis, and I was like, okay, I don't really know much about that. Went home and had a little look into it, and I found people like Vanessa, ketogenic girl. Um, there wasn't that many people. This was about 5 years ago. There wasn't that many people to find to speak about it, but I found a few people, um, and Dr. Ken Berry
mm-hmm,
speaking about it. Obviously, Eric Burke, who has a lot of videos that can be informative in the beginning. And yeah, I started to dive into it. And then I put up a bit of a plan and I decided to go through my pantry and get rid of all the, chippies and
mm-hmm,
processed foods. But it is a transition, and I think it's actually good to transition rather than go straight into it. As in the beginning, you can start to look for all the keto bars and all the shakes. And when I did start posting about
mm-hmm,
it, you get all the people reaching out selling the exogenous
mm-hmm,
and there's always going to be marketing and all sorts of things. So I had to kind of learn more about that as I got approached by all these people. But at the end of the day, from my experience, it's you just want to stick to real food. Like you don't have to worry about all the keto shakes and all of those things, and just kind of um, get rid of the stuff that's going to tempt you in your house. Yeah, just eat real food. So like you obviously base it around protein, so meat, eggs, veggies, and some fruits and things. And since being keto for quite a while, I've now reintroduced fruits back in moderation. So I'll have some green apple.
mm-hmm,
I've had pineapple, and I don't know if you saw my test yesterday. I tested my GKI, my glucose to ketone index, and I was still in ketosis after eating pineapple,
mm-hmm,
and I've done the same with watermelon. And I just think that that's really cool because so many people are afraid of trying keto because they're scared they have to get rid of certain fruits forever. I've tried mango and all sorts of things and tested my blood glucose and ketones before and an hour after,
mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's been really cool experience, and a lot of people have enjoyed following me posting that, as well as I did try quite a popular keto protein bar here in Australia, and it sent my blood sugars through the roof. And compared to that of just a banana, you'd be better eating a banana than this, keto protein bar. So yeah, it's really interesting. And I love that this journey of keto has led me into more health aspects, like
Yeah.
getting a topic that I now make my own skincare products with coconut oil and beef tallow, and
Mm-hmm.
I make my
Definitely.
toothpaste, and baby wipes, and everything. And I just love the rabbit hole that this has led me down.
No, yeah, to be honest, I always tell people that, I have so much energy and so much more capacity now to do so many things, and started a podcast and do other things as well, but I cannot imagine myself doing all of these things on the old diet that I was on. And so yeah, it's just it's such a life changing for me to be able to do what I want to do, exercise, change my lifestyle, and do other things that I really wanted to do before, but just cannot find time or energy to do them. But yeah, I'd like to talk to you about, you talked about, I was reading up on your story and talked about having panic attack and anxiety in the past, and how keto has helped you alleviate those your symptoms. And
Yeah,
I had a panic attack myself, and it was I was scared to death at that time, and was a really traumatizing experience for me. And at that time I wasn't, obviously happy with where I'm at. I had, lots of stress on me, and drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee too really didn't help, I think. And probably I was just, I didn't know what to do with my body. That I didn't know about health, what healthy was. I was eating broccoli. I was eating. I thought I was eating healthy, right?
yeah,
I thought healthy was, dry chicken and broccoli, and just drink a lot of water, and I'll be healthy. Yeah, from that day after, having that panic attack, I think my life changed forever. And from then on, I had to really pay attention with my health. And at the time, keto wasn't really in my radar, not until 3 years after. Then I realized my mood is better after, after keto. I'm not always depressed. There were lots of factors causing my anxiety at the time, I think, before keto. But with lifestyle and, meditation and sleeping better, I think has become a gift, and without that experience, I will not be the person I am today. And I believe your experience with panic attack and anxiety really truly helps you understand uh, your clients, understand other people, understand what they're going through. You have so much empathy for people. And so I'd like to really talk about your story, and with anxiety. Maybe you could talk about a little bit about, what was causing that, and your experience with panic attack, and then how did a lifestyle change help you, because a lot of people struggle with this, and I think it's really important to point out. And so that's why I really love having you here. And can you talk a little bit about that, and how keto has helped you through that change?
yeah, definitely. So that was not something that I expected
Mm,
when going into ketosis. In the first month of beginning keto, my husband wasn't keto at the time. He was just watching me. I'm quite an independent person. I was just doing my own thing. And in the first month of keto, I lost 8 kilos, which is
mm,
what most people focused on. People are like, wow, what are you doing? And it was actually my husband that noticed. He said to me, probably about 3 weeks in, he said, when, and I mean, he doesn't always notice most things, but he said to me, when did you last have a panic attack? And I was like, oh, wow. Like, not since last month. And that was so good because I was having them every week at the time. And I was like thinking about it. And then I started to realize how good I felt mentally. And my goal with keto was always just to do it myself. I was never going to make James try it because he loved his pizza and butter chicken and naan bread and all that kind of stuff. And he ended up wanting to jump on because he saw how good I was feeling mentally and how much happier I was. I wasn't upset all the time, I wasn't down, and I was so full of energy. But my anxiety journey kind of started when I was probably about 17, and I was having anxiety. I didn't really get panic attacks until I was a little bit older, maybe 19, and it was the worst. And back then, mental health wasn't really spoken about. It was like just kind of, there's people worse off, and you almost gaslight yourself, and you're like, oh, there's people this, you brush it off, and you're like, just be strong, have a cup of concrete kind of thing. So when I started having the panic attacks, I would always have them alone. I would start to feel my heart racing, crushing chest, and I would always check my pulse. I'd always put my fingers in here and check my pulse. And as I got a bit older, I did end up getting a smartwatch, which possibly made it worse for me because I could check my heart rate, and often my heart rate was sitting around 180, just sitting there resting. And there was times that it got above 200, and it was really, really scary because I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, which probably sounded silly at the time to people, because people would say you can't die from a panic attack, but I truly felt like I was going to. And there was multiple times, and I have some videos saved on my phone that I could look back on when I was so that I kept them on there, so that if I needed to know that I got through the last panic attack alone. And I'd saved videos to send to my mum. I'd never sent them to her because that would freak her out, but I saved videos saying thank you for everything, because I truly thought that I wasn't going to be here anymore, because my heart would go, I would skip beats. And yeah, and when I had gone to a doctor, he ended up putting me on heart medication called Cortilox, and
Mm.
that made things worse. That was not a nice experience at all. He put me on this really strong medication, and I remember going to the chemist and giving him my script, and the guy looked at me and was like, is this for you? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, this is the highest dose, that was like 200 milligrams or something. And he was like, he looked really shocked. And the fact that he looked shocked freaked
Mm.
me out. And I personally am not, I don't take, I'm lucky enough to not have to take medication. And I personally have electrolytes if I have a headache. I'm not one to take Panadol or anything. So when I got prescribed this really strong medication, I walked out crying. I was so upset. And when I started it, I found out that I couldn't just stop it. I had to wean off it when I did want to stop it. But the idea was, they thought that I might have SVT, so supraventricular tachycardia, which was making my heart have an arrhythmia. They didn't ask me anything to do with what the foods I was eating that could have been triggering an adrenal response or anything like that. And they did a few tests. They put like a monitor on me for a week, and they monitored my heart. And when I was on the medication, it actually dropped my heart rate to resting at 32 beats per minute at one point, which was really scary, because I was used to a racing heart, not to a really, really slow heart. And yeah, hairdressing, there was a few times that I felt like I was going to pass out. And I actually went to a naturopath one time and had some dry needling or something, and she felt like my lower abdomen pulsing, and she said, your adrenal glands are really overwhelmed. And yeah, once that was just before I started going into keto. And then once I started changing my eating and cutting out the processed sugars and things, that's when I noticed things change. And I said to my doctor that things changed after I changed my eating, and he said, oh, that would have nothing to do with it. And I was like,
Mm.
I mean, that's pretty weird, because I had suffered with anxiety for 10 years, and then 1 month of changing my eating, everything had changed. That can't be a coincidence. But yeah, I they had me booked in for surgery to do on my heart as well. They wanted to go up through my groin and burn a bit of tissue off my heart. And literally, because I did still have the smartwatch at the time, literally after just changing my eating, my heart rate was back to 60 beats per
Mm,
minute. It wasn't resting at 120 throughout the day. I wasn't getting the panic attacks where my heart rate would get up to 200. Like, everything changed. So um, yeah, it was an interesting experience because it freaks me out to know what would happen, because when having the surgery, I also had to sign away something that I could end up. They would cut down the middle and put in a pacemaker. Like, I'm so glad I didn't go down
mm.
that route, because here I am 5 years later and my heart's completely fine.
It's almost like it's accidental that you've came across keto at the time, and um just so happens that it helped your anxiety and panic attacks, and you're still on you were still on the heart medications at this time,
No,
not anymore.
I went off them.
Mm,
I weaned myself off the pills probably 3 months after, because it was
mm,
just having really bad effects on me. I'm not on any medication at all. But yeah, I went back 6 months later, and I said to the heart specialist that um, I said to him, I told my doctor that I changed my food and everything has changed, and he said, yeah, that could have something to do with it. And I was felt good, at least he was listening to me, and he did a test and they did an ultrasound on my heart, and he said everything looks normal. I don't think you need the surgery anymore. And I was like, oh,
mm.
well, that's really cool. So he didn't acknowledge exactly that it was to do with the
Love that.
lifestyle change, but he just said that sometimes things just correct
Mm,
themselves.
mm. Wow. I can't help but think that, what if you didn't know about keto at the time and you
Yeah,
would have gone through surgery, and who knows, right? But it happens. Things come to us, and your mission right now is to help people now discover this and how it helped you, mentally and physically. You've gone through all of that for 10 years, you said.
yeah,
10 years, and now you're now all well equipped to create change in people, the way you did for yourself. I see my experience as a gift. Like, I see your experience as a gift too, and because you have that experience and that knowledge of how, because specialists doesn't believe it, right? you
yeah,
know things correct themselves. Who really knows, right? But let me say this: I am a true believer that our journey starts when we're born. It's the environment, it's what was said, it's our choices, conditioning, coming up with all of these different things in our mind and body that we carry along with us into our adulthood. Things come up. We get anxiety. We don't know where it's coming from. Maybe our emotions we haven't dealt with, and we do things to mask our emotion. We eat, or we choose to reward ourselves with things, but there are things that are out of our control, but food is in our control, right? No, researching about what really helps our body fuel our body is in our control. And so, man, I love that you found keto to, struggling for 10 years, and now, after a month, you're panic attack free. I cannot believe it, but it
that was that was
it's
5 years.
unbelievable.
I still haven't had a panic attack since,
It
so it's been
mm,
amazing. And
mm,
I sometimes get the little Facebook memories and things pop up of, and it'll say that I was feeling really horrible and stuff five
mm,
years ago, and it's
mm,
I can remember those moments, and I'm just so grateful. But I really struggle watching friends suffer with bad anxiety, and especially
mm,
when that I have some friends that will be drinking the big monster energy drinks. I don't know what energy drinks you have over there. We have one called Mother and all sorts of different ones. And yeah, sometimes it's like they're drinking all these energy drinks and not realizing that that's or the pre-workouts and
Mm,
things, and I'm
yeah.
like, you know,
It
it's
doesn't
I
help.
all I can do is post about it. I don't like to
Mm,
like message people and say that, because it's not guaranteed that that's causing it, but that's going to fuel your anxiety if you're having pre-workout and energy drinks and even multiple coffees.
mm,
You're putting a lot of stress on
absolutely.
the adrenal glands, and
Absolutely.
yeah, that's hard to
Yeah.
watch. But all we can do is put the information out there, and then when people, decide they want to make a change,
Hmm.
and yeah, sharing our stories, and like you with your podcast, sharing so many different stories that can resonate with certain people as well, which is amazing.
So I can imagine that after a month of, your husband actually asked you if when's the last time you had your panic attack. I can imagine at that time you knew that this is the lifestyle. You're going to be on this lifestyle for a
Yeah,
very long time. Is that right?
definitely. Well, when you would probably know as well, when you do start keto, you start to get people that have seen little articles and things about how bad keto is for you. And I did get some family and friends and stuff be like, "Oh gosh, you can't do that forever, though." I was like, "This the articles you're seeing are normally always sponsored by lots of little Facebook ads and things, and they are studies that are done on, well, animals normally
Mm,
that are just eating bacon every day and really high amounts. They're just having bacon, butter, and eggs or something, and they're not having a variety of foods. Keto isn't one size fits all. There's so many different ways of doing keto, and people will message me and go, "Oh, I've seen you, eating a green apple. That's not
mm.
keto." I'm like, keto is food isn't
Yeah.
keto.
I used to
Each
be
person
super
is the
defensive, but I'm like you now. I stay in my lane. If they don't ask me, I don't really talk about it.
same.
If somebody really wants to learn, they can always reach out. But I'm not somebody to reach out to you and talk to you about this because um, it's hard to justify this to people if they're not struggling with anything that you know that would actually force them to switch their lifestyle, then it's not really for them. And for me, for you, it was the lifestyle because it really helped us. We found the sustainable lifestyle that we really love to be in, and the energy that it gives us, the
Yeah.
things that you were able to do, right? You were able to help other people also going through the things that you went through, and it's just such a the keto community is such a great place to be in because everybody just helps each other out, and there's so much education with, and we're not really bashing anyone or talking bad about anyone else, but we're just trying to educate people that want to learn more about this, and that's the best thing.
Yeah, well, when I watched my husband transition, that was amazing for me to see his mood change. When we would go out for dinner and people would go, "Oh, what are you going to eat? You can't eat anything here." We would get steak, eggs, some asparagus. We'd get a bit of butter on the asparagus, and we had the same size meal as everyone else. And people were like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd be able to eat anything here." And my husband and I both stopped drinking as well, not because that affects keto or anything, but just we felt so good. We didn't feel like we needed to drink. And people find it so weird, but we both haven't drunk in, for myself, I haven't drunk in about 5 years, and I feel amazing. And I can go out to parties and be dancing, and people are like, "Oh, have you had a few drinks?" I'm like, "No, you can dance without drinking." And watching how my husband was, I remember this one time at a dinner, and he was sitting there smiling, just talking with everyone, and he was so much happier than our previous lifestyle. And I think a lot of our friends and family personally think that I kind of made my husband go keto. That wasn't the case at all. I'm so stubborn. I would, when I was first, that first month, he was sitting eating pizza next to me, butter chicken, and I didn't want one bite of it. There was one time he had pizza and he said, "Do you
Mm.
want some?" And I had a little bit of pepperoni, but I would not eat the base. I was so stubborn and committed to my goals. And yeah, once I started feeling amazing, people would say, "Oh, don't you miss chips, or don't you miss, that bread and things like that?" Like, I felt so good that it was like, if you knew how low I felt and that food could play a role in that, you wouldn't want to go back to that.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think is people. So many people say, "Oh, do you miss just a Mars bar or a caramel bar or something?" No, because I can make delicious alternatives that literally taste amazing to me. And I'm not, people go, "Oh, yeah, but it's not going to taste like the real thing." To me, it tastes better than the real thing, and it doesn't make me feel like crap. And
That's
that's the most
classic.
important thing. I'm not scared of going and eating some McDonald's or something, because it will make me gain any weight. I couldn't care less about that.
Mm.
It would make me feel like crap. So
Mm.
that's why I choose not to, because it wouldn't make me feel good.
What was it that ultimately helped him transition? Why did he want to be? Why did he want to transition to keto? What was it?
Because I had like what they call a spring in my step, and I
Mm.
was so happy that he was like, I want to
I
feel like
want that. I want that
and
happiness.
he and he was really good. He would meal prep like 5 meals. He would have like steak. He loves his scrambled eggs and avocado. And
Mm.
he wouldn't. He loved when I would make like the keto treats, and I'd melt down some dark
Mm.
chocolate and put some vanilla
Mm.
collagen powder and put some macadamia nuts and make all these treats. And he
Mm.
loved that. He loved trying them,
Yeah.
but he didn't really make them himself. So yeah, he was really good because he didn't have all the temptations and things.
Mm.
But once he started, he noticed a weight loss and didn't feel as puffy. His mental clarity for his work, it made his whole life better. So when I say to people that it changed my life, it changed James's life as well. But it literally is life changing.
Yeah.
It's and as I said at the beginning, it's life changing, but then leads you to other life changes
Yep.
and changing other things and learning more about what goes on your skin, not just in your body. So yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's
It's almost like you don't have to even talk about it. It's just show them how you really feel. Show them that you really feel great. You're not somebody that's just faking it. Really happy. You're really energetic, and you really feel amazing. And I don't think we have to talk about it. We can just show it.
And I think like you want, as you feel and I feel, like you want other people to feel that way. And it's not that you think that
Mm.
everyone needs to do this as such. It's just
Mm.
there's no harm in trying something, but don't just try something for 2 weeks. I have a friend who tried keto for 2 weeks, and then she kind of will
Yeah,
bag it out on her page,
brushed it
saying
off.
no good. But 2 weeks isn't enough time to
Mm.
really try something. You need to try something for at least 30
Mm.
days
Yeah.
to really feel the impact. Because one, you don't want to go straight into from eating 300 grams of carbs a day to under 20 grams. You want to transition. You want to have some electrolytes, and you want to even, I tell a lot of people, if they're coming from really high carb, to slowly cut down sweet potato or something, rather than have, cut out the breads and that, but still keep some healthier considered carbs in there. And yeah, you really need to try something for at least 30 days to know if it's for
Yeah.
you.
I'm still trying to figure out how to really convince people, right? If they do ask me, I I still am figuring out. That's why part of why I'm doing my podcast is because I want to be able to really figure out how to convince people, because you didn't have to convince your husband. He just wanted to do it, right?
Sold itself, yeah.
And that's what happened to most of us, right, we really had to want it. It's not because somebody told us about it, right? It's not because somebody was talking about it. It's because we really want to learn about it. We really want to know about it. And being on it for 2 weeks really it doesn't help because, right, if you really don't want it and you just wanna want the results, then you're gonna fail. You're setting yourself up for failure, because if you don't want it, then it's not gonna work. Just That's just my opinion.
I always
um
say the
yeah.
weight loss is what draws people in, but the
Hmm.
mental clarity is what keeps people there.
Yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of people I know that have done keto for quite a while, but then especially with the whole pandemic have fallen off the wagon a bit. They've said, I need to get back to keto because I felt good. They're not saying I need to get back to just lose all the weight. They're saying because of how they feel. And that's what makes me, I always say to, like, especially my clients, I'm like, the weight loss is a benefit. That's like an added benefit, but focus on how you feel. Don't worry about the scales because they can change so much. They can fluctuate due to water weight, sleep, stress, so many different things. Focus on how you feel because
Mm,
that's the most important part. And how you
absolutely.
feel is what will get other people interested too. I don't know if you would call it a butterfly effect, but other people start to go, you've
Mm,
been so much happier. Like,
mm,
your energy, you radiate a good energy. Like you yourself, you radiate to me, you radiate a really nice energy, really positive. I can tell we've all been through stuff in the past, but you have a really good energy, and
mm,
it's not just because of keto, but it's a real mental evolution when you start to improve your mental health because you end up you learn about getting sunshine and so many things that you just didn't know before when we would just eat our
mm.
chicken and
Yeah.
broccoli and be
Yeah.
miserable.
It's a journey, really. It's a journey. It opens the gates when you try keto for a bit, for weight loss. It opens this whole other health journey. Hey buddy, how's it going?
Lorenzo.
What's his name?
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. Um, so I'd like to talk to you about coaching now, because obviously you are a fitness trainer and a health coach, and absolutely love talking to health coaches who actually been through the struggle, because that experience, that knowledge that you are able to share with people is so valuable, because you have that understanding, you're empathetic to them, and it also makes you a very effective coach. And you talk about your mission to help other people. I want to ask you, what made you decide that this is what you want to do, that you want to teach people how to transition to this lifestyle? When did you realize that you wanted to be a coach?
Well, when I started my recipe page about 5 years ago, I started sharing my recipes and just posting them on there because I didn't want them on my personal page for people that didn't want to see heaps of food, because I was posting every day just everything I was eating. I think it was maybe documenting it for myself. I never imagined it would get a bigger following. Most people don't really when they put stuff out there. You're just kind of doing it for yourself, and then I would do it so I could that people that were interested could follow along, and I would post all the macros and everything and try and be as helpful as possible. And then as my page grew, I started getting a lot of people wanting how to start and that, and I actually was helping people for about 3 years online. I would spend hours on my phone just voice messaging and helping people as much as I can, but for free. And
Mm,
a few friends had said, "You are so dedicated and spend so much time helping people. Why don't you get paid for it? And do it as a job?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to take people's money. I really struggled to actually put a price on it because I genuinely love to help people. And as you say, like, we're empathetic. We know how it feels when you're struggling and how good you can feel. So I really struggled to start a business and make money from it. Having my page, as you can imagine, I get so many companies reach out to me and offer payments to promote shakes and friggin' all these things they come up with. And I have a saved inbox of just hundreds of companies I've just turned away because I don't agree with the ingredients they use. I personally don't like sweeteners like maltitol and maltodextrin and sucralose and that. So I feel bad for companies because I'm just constantly, declining them. But yeah, so I struggled with that. And then when I did the primal health coaching course through Mark Sisson, Christine Hassler, I think her name is, she does a part in the course explaining your worth and that you've spent, thousands of dollars doing this course and your value is important. So she also explains that people, if they, invest in your health coaching, that they're going to stick to it more than if they just got it for free. So she really helped me mentally get around the fact that I could actually charge, because I spent all my savings to do this course because I was so passionate about it. And yeah, that really helped me.
Mm.
And when I started, my health coaching business, people that have followed me for years that I had helped in private messages for free then ended up joining my plan, which I didn't expect because I'd already kind of given them the information. But they were
Yeah.
grateful for everything and all the time that I'd spent. And I often, for the last few years, often replies I get in my DMs are like, "Oh wow, you actually respond," and I'm like, "Of course I do. I'm just a normal person." Like, there's been times when I've had an influx of messages and I haven't been able to get back to everyone, but I always do my best to respond, especially those that I can tell are coming from a place that they really need change,
Mm. Mm.
and are struggling. So yeah, I'm so happy to now finally have my website up. I struggled a little bit being a real perfectionist with trying to get it perfect, but I've had to learn myself to just work on it as I go,
Mm. Mm.
and change as
Mm.
I notice things that need to change.
And being a health coach, being a full-time health coach now, means that you could also help more people, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to just doing it on the side, and now you're working full-time as a as a health coach and as a also a physical trainer too, right? I believe.
Yeah, well, I don't. I have my son with me all the
Mm.
time, so I do virtual training.
Mm.
So I on my app I do have a little quick hit high intensity interval training that I do that you can do from home. I've got some that you can do in 11 minutes with your child next to you, which is really good. And I have a Facebook group that I go live on and do some cooking and things like that. So yeah, it's a really good little community. But I also still like to post recipes on my page for just people that want to follow along. And
Mm.
yeah, I want to also like put out a recipe ebook just for some yummy recipes that make it easy to adhere to the lifestyle.
Awesome. So for my listeners, where can they find you? Where can they find those recipes?
Well, I have hundreds of recipes on my Instagram page at
Hmm.
Ms. Keto. But if you did want to try a meal plan that included some yummy recipes, and if you've been keto for a while and are scared and not sure how to reintroduce some fruits like some green apple or some pineapple here and there, I can definitely help with that. I also have some yummy protein mug recipes and things, and just things that if you're struggling and missing things, that you can, have things that make you feel like you're not missing out, which I think is important. And as you would know from people you've interviewed and
Hmm.
things, like carnivore can be, and more meat based,
Hmm.
animal based can be amazing for things, but so many people aren't ready to try that. So um, yeah, I think having alternatives and bread
Yeah.
recipes and things is a really good step to help you transition without feeling like you need to
Hmm. Hmm.
go and binge out on things and then feel like crap and feel like you're back to square one. So yeah, I love making recipes.
What's your website for
So
people?
website is www.purezhealth.com, and yeah, that's got all my information and about me on there.
Awesome. And we will link everything down below so you guys can check that out. Again, uh, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. Man, this has been a blast. I hope that, people are taking notes because I really believe in this, and I really believe that, with this lifestyle change, we can really change how we feel mentally and physically. And so thank you so much, Zara. I really appreciate you for coming on, and good luck with everything, and thank you for all your work and your hard work, and helping people in within your community. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing, and I'll definitely follow along your journey and keep up to date with your Instagram and all your future podcasts.
Thank you so much.